Martell is back on it, y'all. If there's anything we can depend on this man to do, it is try to drag everybody down to the pits of hell with him, okay? Martell is back on his petty, slinging dirt, mud, sand, heck, at this point throwing 2x4s. He is slinging whatever he can at everybody else. And it's like, Martell, we get it. You're sad. Your life has literally gone to shite ever since, Melody left you behind. And you're sitting here watching Marsau and Maurice get to, stay with they women after doing all the stuff that you've witnessed them doing. And so you're feeling like, Marsau, how dare you say you don't respect me? Because we was beside each other doing the dirt. But see, the difference is Marsau has now seen outside of, we just cheating on our wives, no biggie, what they don't know won't hurt them type stuff. Now Marsau is seeing this from an outside perspective of, Martell, you threatened Melody with a schmex tape of y'all two. So if she didn't stop bullying you, and the fans didn't stop bullying you, first of all, ain't nobody giving you no heat, Martell, that you don't deserve. So now here it is. In this moment, you going back and forth with Marsau. Let's get into that at the beginning of the episode. You started off with, with the mess, and then you're mad that Marsau's coming back at you. But now, Martell, when I tell you it got ghetto real fast, okay? Martell, boy, took it to the streets. It got ghetto real fast, okay? I said, look at love it, Hip Hop Huntsville, okay? So Martell starts throwing, because this is when he said something about, I think, Tisha or whatever. And it's like, now you throw Tisha into it, everybody on the side just sitting there looking like, ooh. And so he's like, Tisha, I watched you or something like that. He was like, and I seen what you do. And he so much was bleeped out that I, picked up on three main things. The first thing that was bleeped out was him saying basically that he knows who Tisha slept with, I guess by virtue of that being his homeboy. And he's like, I seen it. So you saw Tisha hooking up with your homeboy. So you feel like, Tisha, you nasty, Tisha, like you freaky. You're like, you crazy, Tisha. Like that's what he kept saying. And then after that, it's Marsau, you big bike bald-headed bitch. He hit him with that basically, like, Marsau, you a nobody. And truthfully, I could have had Tisha, but that's what Martell was saying. Shoot, you was ugly back there, Marsau. I could have had Tisha. Look, you was ugly. You was bigger than what you are now. You were uglier, back then than what you are now. Like at the bottom of the barrel, And so Marsau is literally ignoring him. And then we get to the third part of basically after that, because they're going back and they're saying all that, and Tisha is trying to go back with Martell, like, you ain't saying nothing. And it was like, oh, what you gonna do about it? Of course, Martell's throwing the, I got receipts, okay, pulling the Mariah Hook of it all. And they're like, if you gonna say, like, just say it already. So now at this point, Kimmy is like, Martell, like you do this all the time. You want to apologize, but then come back and start doing this mess. And that's something that Martell has clearly had a pattern of on this show. For those of you who've been watching since the beginning, Martell loves to be like, oh, I don't want no negativity. We all good. And then he hears something he don't like and throws, basically a bitch fit, honestly, is what it is. And I think Martell was surprised because, yes, we know Martell has definitely been distant from the group because he ain't really been allowed to film, at least, obviously when Melody's in the scenes, Martell ain't supposed to be nowhere around there. So that's already something that keeps him separate from the group. Then too, you stay over there with Ariana, and obviously you ain't bringing Ariana out in the streets as if y'all together because you still embarrassed of her, truth be told, and you're with this woman, but you're not, claiming her per se. You're not coming into the group walking with her, hand in hand. you'll just do little outings and y'all post little lives or little Snapchats of y'all at the concert, as we've seen, But then it's like Martell hasn't been seeing them, and so to get a surprise tag about Marsau basically being like, "Oh, I don't respect him." Firstly, he's like, y'all know Martell loves this, we dudes, bros before hoes type situation. It's always supposed to be like, don't call me out on my bull. And now that Marsau is like, I don't respect him, Martell's kind of feel like, psh, like respect, like what you mean? How dare you gonna lose respect for me? If you gonna lose respect for me, then shoot, I won't respect you now. Like he's very, very petty. Like it just really is, and just immature too as well. So now Destiny kind of like chills it out and starts asking a second question of like, oh, who in the group besides your spouse do you lean on or feel like supports you or something like that? And Marsau killed me. He was like, what was it? He was like, Martell showed me what not to do, or showed support and showed me what not to do, by being with a woman that hooked up with other people or something like that. Basically, he was saying like, you married the town whore, okay? You married the village slut, okay? And so now Martell, he get hyped, get ready to go again. He was drinking his water and spit it out. Destiny tried to stop him, and everyone was like, ooh, now you done brought Ariel to it, because he was sitting there just like, oh, Martell showed me how not to leave my marriage, for a woman that everybody slept with or something like that. And so it's kind of like Marsau is acknowledging the fact of like, we are still together, nigga. You are the one who blew up your shit, and trying to throw salt in our game does not make you any less of in the position that you're in, Martell. And if you do, blow up their spot, ain't shit finna happen, because you've said it yourself. Tisha accepts it. And that's really what you're pissed off about, which we'll get into the conversation with Destiny. So now at this point, Tisha is leaving, because Marsau is like, we not finna do this. We not finna go down there with Martell. Martell, he get in the car talking about, Kimmy, don't be mad at me. And this is where Maurice pissed me off, and he shows just like how he is. Oh, Kimmy not gonna be mad at you. And it's like, how you speaking for Kimmy? Kimmy, Kimmy ain't gonna be mad at you. Martell, you okay? That's just Martell being Martell. That's the fucking problem. And Martell wanna sit there and act like, it's your brother, but Maurice called him out by the truck like, you started it, but you being sensitive. I ain't sensitive. He was like, yo, you literally talked about, Marsau in the video, and then you just went off. Like, Martell wants to keep acting like, oh, if Marsau keeps slinging dirt, if Marsau goes low, then I'll go back at him. You're acting as if he's the one that started it. Nigga, you started this. Like, I don't like how he's trying to, like, put it on the thing of, like, oh, if Marsau decides to go low, then I'll go there with him. You started it. So now he gets in the car, and Kimmy's talking to Marsau like, you shouldn't have been going back and forth him. So now Tisha's catching strays. Martell want to sit there and try to, talk about her college experience. Everybody knows college is where you might want to, this when you start learning what a spend the night bag is, start learning, how to quick change of clothes in the car, just life. You learn life in college a little bit, and then sometimes the legs be open, okay? Legs to the moon. You learn how to hop in the dick and do a full split, okay? And Tisha was doing that in college, and Martell, it wasn't none of your business to go, run and tell everybody else about it, because we know you already the village slut. So don't be trying to call my whole card, because now everybody got yours stamped to the back of your shirt, okay? So, after that, everybody's leaving. So, what happened after that? What was the next scene? It was that Tisha. So Tisha goes to the ring store. Y'all know Tisha has been battling Marsau over wearing a wedding ring since literally the start of the show. So Tisha's in there looking for bands for Marsau. He walks in, and he's like, what are we doing here? And she was like, well, I think it's time for you to get a new ring. And Marsau always it's always something new as to why he won't wear the ring. And he's really playing in Tisha's face in regards to, oh, what does the ring represent? The ring don't really mean that much to me, And she was like, no, like, so what does the ring represent to you? What does it mean? And he's like, obedience. Then, the ring is just a show of obedience to me. And so she's like, no, the ring is like a symbol of commitment, love, da-da-da-da. But in the back of my mind, I'm like, okay, so if you feel like the ring is a representation of obedience, and Tisha got the ring on, so you're saying Tisha's supposed to always be presented to the world as being obedient to you? So who are you obedient to, Marsau? Within the confines of this marriage? Because that's what it's giving. It's giving, of course, the woman's supposed to be the obedient one, the submissive one. She got to follow all the rules, but you don't. And then you say some stupid shit like, Tisha, people gonna look at me, know I'm married, And she was like, no, not because you don't have a ring. Marsau was feeling like, I'm Marsau Scott. People know we're married.
It's not a mother on this planet that didn't know that Kenny Anderson was married.
So look at me, Tisha. Like, people already know I'm married. It's given, like, what am I wearing a ring for? People already know who we are, who I am. So, like, I don't need to wear a ring. But, Tisha starts getting emotional discussing how, at one point, obviously, we know how her and Marsau's household was, in turmoil, because they were going through a lot after Melody and Martell started going through that stuff. We know that they was slinging, dirt at their house. And Tisha, although in front of the cameras and on social media, is giving, my husband could never, my man would never. We know behind the scenes Tisha was questioning his ass, like we do. And so with her saying, dealing with all this stuff over multiple years, she went through a spout of depression. And I felt bad for Tisha in that moment, because as much as, girl, I'm still getting your ass, I can understand how seeing hundreds of thousands of people's, responses about your marriage, your relationship, who you are, how you act, could be emotionally affecting. And I don't like how Marsau is making it about Tisha wanting to put the ring on him for the sake of, her being the one that read the comments, It's like, as long as you don't read the comments, you don't have to worry about the pain being there, because the comments are the one that's making the situation worse than what it is. It's like, but Marsau, you absolutely contributed to a lot of the stuff that Tisha was getting on the backhand of the stuff that you were saying and doing. A lot of times it always comes off as Marsau would rather win the battle with the public at the collateral damage of Tisha. I.e., the public telling, in this situation, Marsau, you need to wear a ring. You need to wear a ring. That's your wife. Like, you need to wear a ring. You need to wear a ring. In his mind, he's like, I'm not going to let social media tell me how to be. I'm not going to let them win by, strong arming me into wearing a ring because they said so. But at the same time, this is something that your wife has told you hurts her feelings and brings on a lot of stress for her, because it's not just you getting attacked by the ring, it's me. And so that's the things that Marsau would do. Like, it's more important to him to win the battle with social media than it is to pay attention to what Tisha needs out of the situation to not be catching flack, and he's not paying attention to that, how he's contributed to the depression that she had. But nonetheless, she gets her ring clean and stuff like that, and then she ends up talking about Martell. And Marsau is like, literally at this point, I don't respect the man. We all know what he did. Marsau has literally been looking the other way when it has come to Martell. All this show, they just like, as Maurice said, that's just Martell. And it's like, he'll listen to a story that Martell is telling him, and you can see it on Marsau's face that he know he lying, but is not calling him out. And Martell himself knew he was lying. It's like, he'll know that he's lying and know that the other person knows that he's lying, but then won't acknowledge the lie if they call out the fact that he's lying, when he already knows that they know that he knows it's a lie. You know what I'm saying? Like, Cause like nigga, we know what you're saying is a lie, and you know that I know that you know what you're saying is a lie. That's literally the majority of the situation with Marsau, the guys, and Martell. They know he be lying, and he know he be lying. But it's like we just gonna let him say what it is, because at the end of the day, Martell is never. He's one of those men who will die on the hill and be dying on the hill for the stupidest shit. So, nonetheless, Marcel was like, yeah, I probably shouldn't have did that. I do need to apologize to Destiny because, me going back and forth with him, only exacerbated the situation. But overall, Marcel, I ain't wrong with how he's feeling. Like, I'm done with Martell. That's it. Like, that's it. That's all. I don't need that man's friendship. That's how life works. So, yeah, moving on. So, what happened after that? Is this when Melody and Tricia met towards the end of the episode? Let's go ahead and knock out Chris and Marsau. So Chris ends up going over to see Marsau. Speaking of Marsau being done with Martell's relationship, doing business, all that type of stuff, yada yada. But Chris basically is going over to check on him after, this Big D energy field day, when it really was giving pissing contest, little dick energy both ways, okay? And as much as Martell is always constantly giving this, because I'm a man, he always is saying that, but like he reiterates it before he starts his conversation. It's always when, like, you're not gonna play my name as a man, as a man. And it's just like, yeah, we get it, and so nonetheless, Chris is like, so how you feeling like about that situation? Like, is this it for you and Martell? And Marcel's like, oh yeah, like absolutely, like this is it. As you said, some people in your life are reason, a season, or a lifetime. Me and Martell had our season. We did what we were supposed to do. We was basically, grown boys at that time, running through life, fuck bitches, get money, type stuff. What she don't know, don't hurt her. We go out on the weekends to Atlanta, do our dirt with the linebackers, come back home, and, joke about it over the phone and act like we didn't do nothing when our wives ask questions, okay? But Marceau is out of that phase, at least as of right now, that we know of, because ain't no bitch came forward. Oh, and I forgot, that was another thing that came up in the conversation. About how it was Martell at the park basically talking about how he knew like the girl it was that Marceau was talking about or talking to, because they both like were meant to smash her or something like that. And so that's what Marceau was like, man, we ain't never smashed no girls together. He was like, well, no, you hit it, and like I guess Marceau possibly hit it, and then after Martell did, I don't know. Nonetheless, Marceau is reiterating to Chris, like, look at what this man has done. He's constantly apologizing. Why would I, go back to being this man's friend? Like, it's the same shit out of this dude. Shoot, he loves being slick and, calling Nell a side chick. They do a flashback. Martell is determined, like, this stench, this like, scarlet letter of, cheater, affair, ain't shit ass nooka, okay? Like, that stench, he's trying to rub it off on everybody else. And it's like, even if these other people are doing the things that you're doing, Martell, it still don't change the fact that these actions are bad. And it still doesn't change the fact that these actions have, had consequences in your life. It don't make them go away either. Like, what you're doing is only proving just how much you do not acknowledge and recognize how your actions are in the wrong, or like, and how they've affected you as to where you're at. So Chris was like, yeah, he's definitely done that. And he was like, so what am I supposed to do? He apologizes, and then we just go back to normal after he's talked about my wife. Marceau definitely felt like Martell was trying to just get him to fight him, basically by going after his woman. And Marcel's like, I don't have to deal with that. Like, I really don't. And then at the end of the day too, that's the mother of your kids. If you could do that to the mother of your kids, then what would you do to me? Y'all literally been watching this man do this shit to the mother of his kids. Now all of a sudden, oh, it's the mother of his kids, Marsau. You wasn't saying that when Martell was on live. Y'all remember when Martell was on live and literally had the kids in the car and he was talking shit about Melody? Or you remember when Melody was at her house and he was in there in the driveway and he thought he was finna walk in her house and she was like, excuse me, the entitlement. Or the fact that he, needed to let Melody know that basically I'm doing this. It is what it is. I'm gonna be with Arion. Are you gonna allow me to have my cake and eat it too? When he was doing that to the mother of his kids. Or maybe the fact that when it was COVID, Martell couldn't even stay his ass in the house. He needed to go over and see Coleslaw so bad that he put his family at risk to go out there and get some pussy. Went out there fighting COVID, could have caught God knows what, and brought it back to the house, to the mother of his children, Marsau. So it's not that y'all haven't seen all the things that Martell has done. It's not the fact that, it's really starting to basically mess with you now. It's all good until shit start happening to you. But I digress. And it is crazy because, it is revenge porn, okay? I'm not going to say it. But it's a thing of, Martell, you're upset. We'll move on to that because Martell now goes and sits down with Destiny because Destiny's feeling like, nigga, you lost your rabbit-ass mind at the park. What's going on? And Martell get the spilling, of course. And as, Marsau was saying, he's like, I just don't get, it's so crazy because at the end of the day, I'm not no liar. So if I tell you, you would ask me about the situation and I tell you, oh, that's not true. Why would you believe me? Nigga, because you're a liar. Because you're a liar. It's not hard, Martell. You're a liar. So you want to stick to the part that the paper says harassing communications, right? That's what you want to stick to. But what Marsau was trying to make sure that you understand that he understands as well, the communications in which you were trying to send Melody is still fucked up. You still sent that woman a video, and then we find out that you've been showing videos of Melody to people, anyways. Because even Coleslaw has said it on the live, Martell's showed me her stuff. So, at the end of the day, it's just really kind of crazy to see that Martell was doing all these things and just now he's really starting to feel like the isolation of doing all these things and him being out on an island on his own and everybody basically turning their backs on him, i.e. the men, the women, it's okay that they turn it, but when the men start doing it, because as Martell said, we dudes, that's why for Martell to sit there, Marsau to sit there talking about he don't respect me, oh, word. And then Destiny asked, Martell to basically understand, does he understand that he needs to apologize to Tisha? And he was like, well, I can kind of apologize for messing everything up, but at the end of the day, Tisha and Marsau, they won. You see, he trying to group Tisha and Marsau Tisha and Marsau together because you feel okay trying to attack Marsau through Tisha, but at the end of the day, you're saying if Marsau, keeps digging at me or wants to go low, then basically both of them can get it. But once again, Martell, you're still forgetting you started the shit, you started it. And so if Marsau does continue to go low, it's not for you to then be well, I'm gonna keep going, I'm gonna keep digging, because he's not the one that's dug at you first. So there was no reason for you to throw out anything because Marsau didn't initiate it. So you're starting fights hoping that Marsau does give you a reaction so you can continue to do fucked up stuff to him and Tisha. But then he started bringing up, what Tisha allowed, because it's what Tisha allowed. Destiny was like, what you mean? Oh, Tisha knew about bleep and it bleeped out. And he was like, yeah, because she was talking to so-and-so, they bleeped it. And everybody knows that Marsau was talking to her for years. And Destiny was like, well, Tisha said that wasn't true. He said, girl, this is how you know Martell ass do nothing but sit on the phone and gossip. He said, girl. It was basically, shoot, I'm done. Because she was like, oh, so now Melody and Tisha girls had a cheat. He was like, shoot, I'm done with it, you know? And it's just kind of like, Martell, you ain't nothing but a grade A Mitch, okay? So, yeah. So I started thinking back, talking to her for a few years, and I was like, Tisha coaching, because she told her what to say. And then, y'all, I started thinking back. Do y'all remember when, because it was alleged that Marsau was sleeping with that hairdresser, which was like somebody that Ariana knew or called, like something like that. And y'all remember when they went on live and the girl basically debunked that she was messing around with Marsau? I think that's what he's talking about. But even if that's true, you know, even if that's true, Martell, what does this get you at the end of the day? Is really what I'm trying to get at. Like, doing all of that shit ain't gonna change the fact that you ain't got nowhere to stay. Chris had to literally had to throw your ass out. You trying to take advantage of squatters' rights, okay? Throw your ass on the streets, okay? The fact that you ain't got no place to live, the fact that you still ain't got your builder license, the fact that you literally have been in jail more times than we can count and in the goddamn year, all these mugshots that you got, like the fact that you with a woman that you don't even want her, you know, after all these years of calling her a hoe and a peasant, you know, all of these things ain't finna go away because you know, blow up Tisha and Marsau's spot. Like, and we're way past that at this point in juncture. So, what else did Destiny and him talk about? So, so yeah, he brought up the girl, and that's like, oh, I feel like that's who he's talking about. And then, they get into, basically Marsau and how Destiny was like, oh, like, well, why didn't you admit to, you know, what I said? Because you said that your feelings were hurt. No, I didn't. I didn't say that. And she was like, yes, you did. Back in Madani, yes, you did. And of course, flashback to Martell basically feeling like, and he said, so she asked, so you feel like you weren't supported? He was like, yeah, like, dang, I ain't getting no text, no call, no nothing. You know, after all the information came out, because it said domestic violence, he was feeling like, oh, they saw that and basically just wrote me off. Didn't call to see if it was true, nothing like that. And it's like, Martell, that's the thing with people who do up stuff all the time. When they've continuously done fucked up stuff and they've gotten away with it, and people have still, you know, held them around and all these type of things like that, the minute the people stop doing that, they don't know what to do. It's a panic because it's like they start feeling like other people doing them wrong when in fact all other people doing are creating a boundary. Like, I don't want to be a part of your carnival, your circus no more. And now Martell is kind of feeling like that's what Marsau did. Like, don't talk about me. Like don't do that to me. Don't be trying to, you know, come at me and do, like, because if you do, then, you know, I'm gonna come back harder, you know. And it's like Marsau simply stating his opinion isn't coming at you, Martell, like, or trying to initiate a battle with you. It's you simply feel like, oh, he's starting something with you because he stated his opinion. You don't agree with this. So what? If you feel like, oh, you know, he don't respect me, then you go and ask him about it and feel like, as you like, figure out what the stitch is. But no, that's not what you want to do. You want to continue doing the same shit that people don't respect about you. You don't see the things that you're doing as things that can cause somebody to lose respect for you. That's the crazy part. So, Martell basically is like, it's up if it's stuck. Martell has been determined that he is fighting, you know, everybody till the day of the dawn, okay? It's always gonna be on site.
And no desert hot enough to keep me off your ass, baby.
So yeah, let's move on. Dang, I already talked this long. Let me see if I can wrap up this part. So what was, I think we might be at the last part of the episode though, because Melody and Tricia get together. I'm trying to make sure that everything. Melody and Tricia. Oh, Melody and Tisha as well. Tisha with your old, Melody with your old miss ass. So Melody would have sit there and lie and say, "Oh, I'm checking in with the girls after the trip." Bitch, no, you ain't. So she gets with Tisha and really ain't waste no time. Girl, since we got back, it's just been so crazy seeing the Scots on the internet. And Tisha's like, hold on, what about the Scots? She's like, with Maurice and his DUI, and Tisha was like, well, it really is just a good thing that nobody was hurt. It definitely could have been a lot worse. At least we know that Maurice was okay and everybody else was okay. That's just really, it could have been a lot worse. And Melody's like, yeah, it could have been. As somebody who's lost a grandmother to a drunk driver, like, it was just really, stupid what he did. And she was like, well, everybody makes mistakes, Mel. We can, people make mistakes and you learn from it. And Melody was like, hold on, learn from what? Because, bitch, no, he ain't learned from shit. Because the very next day, it was, pop bottles and free Reese. And Tisha had to be like, well, they did say free Reese, because if I'm not mistaken, y'all, I'm pretty positive that was when Funky Dineva had Down to the Bar Huntsville, and they were all in the background talking about free Reese. I'm pretty sure I'm positive that's what that was. So, Melody's kind of like, girl, and she was like, then not to mention, they said they saw a lipstick all on my Reese. I was like red, pink, and Tisha was like, Mel, no, that's not true. Tisha definitely saw what Melody was doing. She clocked it. Okay, girl, I know what you trying to do. And you ain't, my name Bennett. I ain't in it. You ain't finna pull me in none of this shit. So when Mel's talking about, oh, they said, girl, he had lipstick on her. And Tisha was like, Mel, that's not what that was. Like, we don't want to put stuff out there that we don't really know is true. And so Tisha basically, when I tell you she was road runner, she was out of there. She was like, well, this was great. And when she was getting up, Melody was like, well, girl, did he get arrested at 10 o'clock? Was it in the afternoon? And Tisha was basically like, oh, Lord, let me get out of here. And Melody at this point in the confession was saying, this is what's going to happen. People are going to be looking the other way. And she's like, is it that, they didn't see it, or that they just want to look past it, basically, is what's happening. And a lot of times, people are going to look past it, i.e. she talking about, Kimmy got checking on Kimmy, see how she's doing, because at the end of the day, every time Maurice do some dumb shit, she got to deal with the collateral damage of that. And she's like, I know how that feels. Melody trying to fake catch up with the girls. Bitch, I tell you, Melody's on her petty this season. She really is just on some get back, because she, kind of laid low for the past season and a half. And so now it's like, bitch, she just popped out like, here, okay, let's get this shit started. So lastly, basically Melody talks to Tricia, y'all. And she starts questioning Tricia about the whole Martell situation. And Tricia's like, yeah, I knew, but and she was like, well, if you knew before the trip, why didn't you come talk to me? Because at this point, I wonder what the time lapse of when Tricia and Tisha and Destiny and Stormy talked at the gym to them going on the trip. Now, I do genuinely feel like on that trip, Tricia was supposed to talk to Melody. But what happened was Tisha brought that shit up at the table before Tricia could do it. Because I remember Kimmy in the pool being like, Tisha, I told you that they needed to have that conversation alone. So I think Tisha kind of busted that up for Tricia. But also as well, Tricia at any point could have pulled, Melody to the side. But I just think she was nervous because it's like she's new to the group and all that type of stuff like that. So Melody boy get to play 21 questions. So she was like, what house was it? What did the driveway look like? Was the house dark? It was in the mountains. What street do you think it was? And Tricia is over there just like, well, no, not really. And it kind of was. I just remember the house was light. And so Melody was like, light. Okay. And the outside, what did it look like? Oh, so that was the house that I left in April. And she was like, I left in April, and then or no, like she was like, yes, I left in April, came back or like in April through September. And so she was like, so with Martell, like, are you not feeling any type of way about this? And Trisha's basically kind of feeling like, you know, why did he bring it up like this? Was he trying to make me look bad? Which is why I think she tried to like lie about it, because one, it ain't nobody's business, okay? And two, it's like, I think she was just trying to figure out what, like she said, the motive of Martell doing this was. Tricia really, and trying to not make herself look bad, it literally just backfired. It made her look bad. And so then Melody being messy, once again talking about, well, were you talking to Ken? You know, because at this point, like, Martell obviously, you know, because before that, she was like, Martell obviously, you know, been working out in the gym and stuff. So, like, you think you need to work out at his house? You know, because that really is a question. Like, girl, Tricia, if a man invites you over in the DMs, at some point, we know we gonna work out, but is we finna work out with no clothes on? Okay. So I think Tricia was kind of light texting Ken, talking to Ken, maybe so a few, you know, few months, maybe six to 8 months in. And because she wasn't taking Ken as serious at first, I remember she told her sister back in the beginning of the season she didn't think Ken was gonna turn serious. So I think, you know, as you should, keep your options open, as Melody did when she left their house. Okay.
Where the hood niggas at? Where's the hood niggas at? I'm looking for the hood niggas.
It was time to go balls to the wall. You know, when I leave, that's why Martell got upset, talking about she cheated. And Melody was like, nigga, I wasn't even home. So shut your ass up. You know, so Melody was out there in them streets. And Tricia was too, y'all. Tricia was out in the streets too. And ran across Martell. And so that's where we at in this situation. And that's where the episode ended, really. So y'all jump on the comments and tell me what you feel about this episode, what y'all feel about this season, what you guys feel about Martell, you know, bringing all the old shit back up again. What do you guys feel about Melody? Is she wrong for coming back and kind of starting the pot this season? And do you think Tricia did anything with Martell? It is Martell basically messed up for bringing Tisha in the situation. Is he messed up for doing that? I really think that's it. I'm trying to make sure I talked about everything. I think so. Yeah, that's it, you guys. Appreciate you for tuning in. I'll catch y'all later. Deuces.